Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. As some of you might know, my name is Gail. I'm the owner of the bargains.com. I don't know why it takes me so long to remember that I am the owner of the bargains.com and the creator of the Bargains Den Studio. I mean, you would think that I would know. But for some sick reason, it's like sometimes I'm not focused and I'm thinking about a million things or what I'm going to say next, especially since I'm not working off a script. So I forget my train of thought. Anyway, this is like, remember I sprayed this. I'm going to put it in the bag just like I did to shape it. And I'm going to finish doing the review tomorrow for this one. That's just part 2 of the little drama that I'm having, especially since I decided to remove it. Okay, so I was talking to my brother and he told me don't be so rash about removing everything off Mecari, everything, because I don't know the situation and it is my first time facing something like that. I've never faced something like that, whether eBay, Poshmark or Mecari. So that's my first time. So instead of having to deal with any more issue, and especially since I don't know what's gonna happen next, I think it's like I don't like anything being out of my control. So that's why I'm so careful with everything that I sell. I'm extremely careful about that. I mean, it's like not even funny. I'm extremely careful. I mean, I don't know why, but like I hate trouble. And I know that I tend to jump to conclusion and I tend to think the worst about everything. Hell, seriously, there was something that happened when I was little, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, and I think ever since then I ended up with like extreme trust issue. So instead of having to, just so you guys know, it wasn't anything as bad as some of you may think of. It wasn't okay, so it was horrible, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't family related or something. Like certain things would F me up for life, but that, I think because he was a complete stranger. Okay, let's just go into it because you guys are gonna think the worst, and it wasn't something. Okay, it is bad, but it is not as bad as you might think. I mean, because as I mentioned a million times, I'm from Haiti. Bad things happen all the time in Haiti, and you all know that. So when I was 12, that was when my father was taken away from me. So when I was 12, I came home from school, and there was 3 people sitting in front of the gate of the house. They were sitting on the step in front of the gate. And when I came home, like when I walked past, and I saw them, it was 2 guys and a girl. Turns out the girl was a guy dressed as a woman, but I didn't know that back then. Anyway, I went inside, I cooked food, and I sent the guy that was working for my parents to bring them food. The girl didn't want to eat, so the guy that was working for my parents came back and told me. So I went back outside and asked her if she wanted anything to drink. Of course, she said no. I insisted, and I got her something to drink, and I went back inside. So around 6 something, I wasn't like, I mean, I know my father was taken from me at 6:20 exactly, and I'm not gonna say, because I don't want to say it the way it happened, because I know there might be kids listening to this, and if there's a kid listening to that, mom, dad, do not let him. And that was okay. So anyway, 6 something, because I know I know exactly the time. I don't know how I know the time, but I know exactly the time that he happens. So around 6 o'clock, so I went outside because all I heard was noise. I was holding my little brother, and I was standing on the porch. We call it gallery on Haiti. I translated in Creole a little bit, so we call it gallery. So I was standing on the porch, but to you guys it's a porch. So I was standing on the porch, and the gate was open, wide open. I know, like, I don't know if any of you travel or if any of you have seen properties in Haiti, but they usually locked up tight. And the reason that they are locked up tight is because you don't want anybody to come in. But I didn't know that. My mom had a way of sugarcoating everything. My parents protected me from everything. Like, for all my siblings and I were protected from everything. So we didn't know bad thing happened in Haiti. I mean, I was so dumb, and I swear, I wish I knew that bad things happen in Haiti. then I would have known like something was coming. But anyway, like I was saying, so sorry. Okay, so 1:06 something. It's like when I was standing there, and when I went outside and I saw the gate was open. The gate was wide open, and I didn't know why the gate was open. I was holding my little brother, so I went outside just to see. There was a lot of noise. There was a lot of commotion, and I was just being nosy. I mean, I'm just a kid. I'm 12, and I was just being nosy. So as I walk outside, and like, you know, just as I passed the gate, like, you know, I barely got in between the gate. And all I saw was somebody fighting with my mom on the side of the house. And then there was, like, you know, a lot of flash and pa 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 pa. And then somebody was firing on my father's car. And that was all I saw. And then, of course, my father was leaning on one side. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, this is why we don't talk about anything that may piss you off or upset you. So that happened, and the car was drifting down, and my mother was still fighting with that person. Before I knew it, somebody grabbed the back of my head and put, you know, the gun, I'm not going to say it out loud, next to my head, and told me the reason I bought them food was because I was trying to see their faces. Can you imagine when a 12-year-old came home and trying to do something nice, only to be told that the reason they were doing one thing, and it wasn't something nice. Like, we are taught to, regardless of who you are, to just give food. I mean, there's a reason most of us grew up heavy. My mom, she would feed everybody. She would cook like there's a million people in the house every Sunday. And that's the reason she took so many of my father's kids in with us, and that's the reason she took 7 other people's kids with us. Because after my father was taken away from us, she took a lot of people in. My mom had a big heart. She grew up on the streets, so she didn't want anything to happen to those kids or anything to happen to any other kids if she could prevent it. So anyway, that person grabbed the back of my hair and put the gun next to my head. So when they did that, my mom saw that. My mom pushed the guy that was holding her and jumped on the guy that tried to, you know, he was gonna, of course, do the same thing that they did to my father to me, because according to them, I was trying to see their faces. And my mom beat that one up, took their weapons away from them, from that one, and then the second one tried to fight my mom. My mom took the weapon. My mom was a badass. Seriously, I think it's like you guys see stuff in movies and you never meet somebody like that. My mom was the badass that you see on TV that can kick anybody's ass. Seriously. And I'm sorry for cursing. I don't usually do that. So my mom was that type of person. So my mom did that. And the third one grabbed my little brother, used his weapon, put that in his mouth, and told my mom if he didn't give the weapon back, he was going to take care of my little brother. I'm trying to censor myself by not saying everything that happened. And of course, my mom did, and my mom got beat up, and a lot of bad stuff happened. So I'm gonna stop talking about that, because apparently I'm getting emotional. And I think that's why one of the reasons I tend to jump about the worst that's gonna happen, because you always think, like, you know, because it was such a traumatic event, and I felt like a dummy because I should have seen it coming. But because I grew up in such a loving environment, in such a protecting environment, I didn't realize that bad thing happened. I never understood when my father was taking me to school, and I was sitting in the car and I saw all those kids, and, like, you know, either walking or taking the buses to go to school. I never understood that concept. And that was the first time in my life something horrible ever happened, and something horrible ever happened to be that tragic. And I think ever since then, I developed trust issues. Don't get me wrong, my mom taught me forgiveness a long time ago. So that's why I'm so open and kind to people. And I'm not afraid of living life trust, because it's like, if I did, I probably would, like, you know, 2021 would have been the reason that I stopped going to Haiti. It would, like, but no, my mom taught me to get past certain things, although you can never get past anything. And I think that's why I tend to jump to conclusion about the worst. Because, oh yeah, I wrapped it like I said I was gonna do. So tomorrow when I wake up, I'm gonna unwrap it in front of you guys, so to see after spraying it if the shoe fall apart, right? Let's do this. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna do the same thing to the to the Lenny. Okay, I was bending over and I kept talking, so I'm gonna do the same thing to the Lenny and see. I probably shouldn't do it to the Lenny, but I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna do it anyway because I just deactivated this one on Mecari. I'm gonna deactivate it on Poshmark. I'm gonna leave it on my site, and I'm gonna leave it on eBay. eBay as a third party. So when you have a third party, is way better than going back and forth with anybody. I'm not trying to start an argument or jump into a conclusion about something happening. I feel like if I don't figure out a way to protect myself against certain kind of issue, I'm always gonna have the same kind of issue, and I've never had that issue at all. This is my first time going to the issue where somebody's telling me the sneaker is falling apart. There's a comical slip mail and the sneaker is falling apart, and you guys saw the sneaker. And again, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, and I tend to jump to conclusion. I tend to think the worst of everything. Not everything, and I know it's not a good way to live life, but I'm extremely cautious. I'm one of those people, I give everybody a chance till you give me a reason not to, and once you give me a reason not to, it's like I don't fight or argue. I just shut down and remove myself from the situation, because when you keep going back and forth, it doesn't achieve anything. So what I do, I just let somebody that has nothing to gain from the whole thing take care of it. And once I started my business here, I figured that was the better way to do it. So as you guys can see, I'm spraying the same thing. I'm doing the same thing I did to the shoe. Like the one that's 19 minutes long, I'm doing the same thing. And I'm not even going to let it dry, which is not a good idea, but I'm not even going to let it dry. I'm going to put it like that in the bag. I will wipe it down tomorrow and clean it properly, but I'm going to put it like that in the bag just so you guys can see whether or not anything happened. And we're going to undo it tomorrow together, so you can see like it's wet. So I'm just doing it just to prove a point and just to see. And if anything happened, I will take my words back. I will be more than apologizing. I will be totally understanding. So I'm just going to put it. And besides, I had to clean this shoe anyway, so I'm just going to put it. I'm just going to do it and see what's up. Anyway, so like I was saying, I tend to remove myself from certain situations. It's not that I'm trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. It's just better be safe than sorry. So going back and forth with anybody doesn't achieve anything when you can just let somebody that's completely neutral and has nothing to gain from the whole argument take care of it. So that's what I did. So I contacted customer service immediately, because I know I'm removing everything that I think could cause me any back and forth with anybody. I'm removing them off eBay and Poshmark. I mean, not eBay, obviously not eBay. I keep saying that. Of Mecari and Poshmark, and I'm only leaving them on eBay. And because I like people, I don't want to be cheated. I don't want to be cheated, and nor do I want to cheat anybody else. So that's why I'm so careful. That's why I put everything on video. That's why I double check, triple check. That's why I pay somebody to double check the sneakers. And I've never, and people can review whether or not you go on eBay, Poshmark, Mecari, people can review my ratings. I do not do anything stupid that may come back to me later on in life. And that's one of the things, like, because karma is real. Do not cheat anybody that you don't want to be cheated to, So that's one of the reasons I don't do a lot of stupid. I tend to, I'm one of those people that do the right thing most of the time. Not all the time. I'm not going to say I'm a saint, but most of the time I do the right thing. Okay, so this one, the glue was already removed, so I'm just going to put it and then like that. So I tend to do the right thing. Okay, I'm going to go to part 2, because this video is having a life of its own. So I'm going to call this part 2, and then I'm going to continue the conversation as on the next part. But I'm going to wrap it so you guys can see the rest of the wrapping process as I do that. So we're gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna stop the video. This is part 2. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, bye. See, it stopped here, and I'm gonna do the next video starting there. Okay.